press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello, my dear students. I am Jayanna Itagi, physics lecturer. I am teaching in physics since 1994. See, my dear students, physics is easy. Only for such students who follow the concepts. Understanding the concept is the first thing. If you do correct in understanding the concept, definitely you feel physics is the easiest subject and interesting. With my experience, I am telling you that listen the words what a lecturer is saying about. Whether you are following those words or not, don't get confused with the words a teacher, a lecturer that he delivers. So that is the first platform to understand the concepts clearly. Don't look at the teacher. Look at, listen, concentrate, properly receive the words, the thing, what we know we are delivering for you, what we know. Once you understand the concepts, write the relevant formula if it contains. And in each formula, each letter has some meaning. For example, in your 10th standard, if I ask you a mirror formula, you will say 1 by u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by f. Mirror formula, whether it is concave mirror or convex mirror. What u represents? You must know the meanings: object distance, u, image distance, v, f, focal length. If you come across a current electricity, say simple resistance, R is equal to V divided by I. What R represents? Resistance. V represents potential difference. I represents electric current. Such meanings, once you write the formula, you should know the correct meaning. Then substitution, proper substitution with relevant units. If centimeter is given, convert that into SI units. You should maintain common units. Suppose U, V, F, U is given in centimeter, V is given in centimeter, so you will get F in centimeter. You should balance the units what you are substituting, then how fast you are good in mathematics. We say mathematics is essential for a physics student. If a student is good in mathematics, he can understand physics. If a student is good in both physics and mathematics, chemistry and biology, definitely they will score, even computer science. So, with my brief introduction, let us start with your PU syllabus, first PU syllabus. I think, my dear students, you have purchased NCERT books If not, if you have a brother or a sister or senior students, you can collect them. Slight modifications will be there, or else you can purchase new textbooks which cost around 600 to 700, doesn't matter. In that physics, you have two parts, two books, part 1 and part 2. In that, I am going to start with part 2 of the physics. The chapter is mechanical properties of a matter. My dear students, take a pen and notebook. Maintain separate notebook. Physics part 2. JBI sir. JBI. J just Jayanna. B my father's name. Basavantappa. I Itagi surname. JBI sir. Part 2. It's a very interesting topic that I am going to teach you. Until the last class, you must be concentrated. Don't lose concentration. Otherwise, it becomes a tough. That's it. Nothing will happen, my dear students. Now, take the heading, mechanical properties of matter. My dear students, let us understand what this is. Why should I learn this chapter? Sir, for getting the marks. That is the first thing, getting the marks. Everyone asks you what is your percentage nowadays. Beside that, understand the concepts. Say, you have a pen with you. What type of state of matter, if I ask you, you will say definitely a solid. As you know, matter exists in 4 states. Solids, liquids, gaseous state and plasma state. And one more, liquid crystal state. Totally 5 states you can have. Matter can be a solid, can be a liquid, can be a gaseous, can be a plasma state, can be liquid crystals. But in our NCERT syllabus, we do concentrate solids, liquids and gaseous states. If you get into higher education, definitely you have to get into higher education. If you come across the engineering side, you will come across these designings, study of plasma state and liquid crystal states. You could have heard LCD. Liquid crystal devices. Complete knowledge of this plasma state and liquid crystals that you will study in higher education. But you have in your mind that a matter exists in solid state, liquid state, gaseous state, plasma state and liquid crystal state. You must know what type of material is required to prepare, to manufacture a pen. Inside this pen there is a needle which is filled with fluid. What type of fluid, how much pressure that fluid should be put into that needle, and what type of the sharp edge when you write on a paper, what type of material it should be. If you start breaking this by holding your hand, you cannot. If you apply some maximum force, definitely it will be broken into many parts. And you must know what type of material, how much load it can withstand. That's just example I am giving you. If you come across construction of bridges, houses, roads, say in different fields, say in the case of civil engineering and in case of say mechanical engineering, in the study of, in the field of civil engineering and mechanical engineering, this mechanical properties of a matter plays a very important role. So for example, construction of a house, they use pillars, beams, they use steel rods, 8 mm, 10 mm, 16 mm rods, 20 mm rods, they use what they are. Why they have to use? Why can't they use wooden materials? Why can't they use glass materials? Why do they need a steel material? And the concrete, a small stones mixed with sand and the cement. What proportions they have to mix up? What the strength, load that a beam can withstand, a pillar can withstand in order to construct a multi-story building. You could have seen, for constructing multi-story buildings, so many pillars and so many beams, we call that as a skeleton. And that comes across, designing of all beams and say pillars comes under structural engineering, civil engineering. In those subjects, you must have some basic idea about the properties, basic properties of solids. And if you come across fluid mechanics, you must have a knowledge, basic properties, what maximum pressure can be given, what maximum force that can withstand, viscous force, dragging force, Magnus effect, spinning of a ball, air lifting, Bernoulli's principle, sprayer. To understand many things related to mechanics, where the media that which can flow easily, a matter which can flow easily, we call them as liquid and gaseous. The study of mechanical properties of liquid and gaseous media, we call them as fluid mechanics. You could have heard that in your house, if a fan while during rotation, if it does some noise, you will say there is some loss due to friction, loss of energy due to friction. They use some grease material, or along with that they use some ball bearings. Why that should be used? What it is going to do? What is the mechanical strength that the ball bearing can help? Why the grease material? Why can't you put water? You are putting only the grease material, which will reduce some friction. So some properties, what the properties related to those materials we have to study, my dear students. So in that study, we have a topic in your first PUC called mechanical properties of matter. Matter exists in 5 states: solid state, liquid state, gaseous state, plasma state and liquid state, liquid crystal state. And we have some ideas in the first PUC. We have to concentrate with the solids, liquids and gaseous media. Now, my dear students, if I say this is a solid, it contains small molecules, atoms, which are compactly arranged. And if you observe the arrangement of atoms and molecules inside the solid with the electron microscope, you will see a well arranged lattice structure, systematically arranged atoms. For example, if you have a multi-story building, all pillars and beams are arranged systematically. Like that, a solid is a state of matter which contain well arranged, systematically arranged atoms and molecules. They have some well defined lattice structure. We can say the most ordered state of matter. The most ordered state of matter is called solid, which has a definite shape, size and volume. Such a matter we call as a solid. If you come across liquid and gaseous media, among liquid and gaseous media is the most disordered state. Gas molecules are randomly arranged. Here and there they wander. In case of gaseous molecules, this is the most disordered state of matter. They have definite volume. Gas has a definite volume, but no shape, no definite shape. And they can be highly compressible, compressible, you can say. They can be compressed. Say for example, a gas filled in a cylinder, highly compressed, whereas a solid is one which cannot be compressed easily, it is very difficult. So in between solids and gaseous means they contain molecules and atoms, which arrangement lies between that of solids and gaseous state. And liquids, they have definite volume. Liquid has definite volume, but they will take a shape as that of a container. Liquids, they will take shape as that of a container. Means liquids they do not have well defined shape. If I take a beaker of say U shape, if I fill a water, it will take a U shape. If I take a container of say circular shape, it will take a shape of the container, pot. I think understood. The study of some mechanical properties. What that mechanical properties are, we have to start now. I think, my dear students, you are taking some brief points what I am writing on the board. We from the college side will provide a beautiful material for you. You can refer that. But my request is, don't watch like a movie. Don't watch like a picture. You must take some data, concept, what a teacher or a lecturer gives for your benefit I told in the beginning. To understand the concept clearly, just to follow this. So now let us restrict our study with this brief idea. Let us begin with the mechanical properties of solids. In the main chapter, mechanical properties of matter, subheading, sub-chapter, you can take mechanical properties of a solid. So, my dear students, as we just discussed, solid is a state of matter which has well defined, well organized atoms and molecules, which has a definite shape, size and volume. They are incompressible. You cannot compress solids easily. It is very difficult to compress them. So, let us understand what the mechanical properties are. Here, so let us say there is a wall. To a wall, you are fixing one, say, steel rod. There is a wall. This shows a fixed wall. This one is a steel rod, which is a solid. What this steel rod contains? Well systematically arranged atoms. Two or more atoms makes a molecule. And there is well defined intermolecular force of attraction. Strong intermolecular force of attraction exists between the atoms. Suppose by some say machine, by some external means, if you apply some force, external force you can say, we call this as say applied force. Means one end is this is rigid, fixed. One end of the rod is fixed to the wall. The other free end is pulled by means of machine. We cannot pull the steel rod, otherwise you will get strained. With the help of some machine, you are pulling this. Now tell me what happens. Does it come easily? As soon as you apply some force, does this steel rod get stretched like a rubber? No. What happens is, as soon as you apply some external force, now tell me what happens to the atoms and molecules? Do they feel happy? Do they say that, okay, applied force, you can take me away from this solid? No. What happens? All these atoms which are sitting systematically, one by one, as a well-defined lattice structure, as I told, it is like a pillar structure, systematically arranged pillars and beams. These systematically arranged atoms, what they do, because of this intermolecular force of attraction, all the molecules and the atoms get together, they oppose the applied force. There is a development of restoring force. I just write this as FR. FR means restoring force. Means which is equal in magnitude as that of applied force and always acts opposite to that of applied force. Remember. Because of intermolecular force of attraction between the molecules, all the molecules get together and they start opposing the applied force. Means once it is in equilibrium state, means the steel rod doesn't break. This applied force is always equal to the restoring force. If you increase the applied force, the restoring force also increases. If you decrease the applied force, restoring force decreases. How much that restoring force developed? Now you are understanding the mechanical properties, how this solid is going to behave now. This study intermolecules, there is some intermolecular force of attraction, all the atoms get together, they start opposing the applied force. That is the mechanical property. Remember, what type of property? Mechanical property of solid. Now, do you mean that you start increasing the applied force as much as you want? This rod never breaks? No, sir. There is certain limit. Beyond which, if you apply some force, definitely the steel rod, definitely it will break. Now, before breaking that steel rod, let us understand what actually it is happening inside this rod is, there is some restoring force, and that restoring force developed per unit area. What is that, my dear students? The restoring force developed inside the material per unit area. So, per meter square. In 1 meter square, 1 meter, if I take this as a square, area of the square is L square. So, 1 meter square, 1 into 1 square, means per unit area, all the atoms in that unit area develop some force. How much that force developed, restoring force developed per unit, not the entire length, my dear students. If you take the entire area, you will get many molecules, many atoms, but you are calculating how much restoring force developed per unit area is always we call as stress, and we denote according to your NCERT book. We write the stress with the symbol sigma. Now, can you define one, say, mechanical property of a solid? Stress. Means it is defined as the restoring force developed per unit area of a given substance is known as stress. Now, my dear students, can you recall the SI unit? We have some standard units, you must follow those standard units. So, according to in SI system, the SI unit of force is what? Newton. N. SI unit of area is meter into meter square. So, Newton per meter square is the SI unit of water, stress. As just I told you that as soon as you apply some external force, that is applied force, the restoring force developed and they are equal. Hence, the same formula, restoring force per unit area, is also written as the applied force per unit area, which is expressed in terms of Newton per meter square. This is one property that you can say, what the mechanical property range are, what do you mean by that? That you can learn from this. Now tell me what happens now. When you apply some external force, does the shape of this solid remains constant? Up to certain limit, you will study in detail. With a neat graph, you will study that. But can you assume that a maximum load that you can give is around 200 Newton, maximum. Suppose if somebody applies 205 Newton, does the shape remain same? No, the shape will change. Means this may get changed to this shape. Just listen here. This may happen. If you still increase the force, say beyond this 200, let us say I am applying 250 Newton, what happens now? Definitely this steel rod, definitely it will break. We call that as breaking strength. We shall study in detail in the next coming classes. Now, applied force per unit area or restoring force per unit area, they have some limit. Before that, so maximum say breaking stress is, say breaking stress, let us say here, stress, they will give say 200, just example I am giving you, Newton, 250 Newton per meter square. Don't worry about the number, understand the concept. Breaking stress is 250 Newton per meter square, means if you and me apply 250 Newton for this per unit area, this definitely will break. But if I apply say 240 Newton per meter square, it won't break. But does the shape remain same? No. There is some change in the shape of the body. The shape will change. But it doesn't break. So, you observed some change in the shape of the body because of this stress. There is some deformation produced in a body due to stress, you can say. The amount of deformation produced, amount they say degree. Degree means 30 degree, 40 degree, not that. Degree means amount. How much? Amount of deformation produced. Deformation, I told there is some change in the shape, means length will change, area will change, volume will change, shape will change. But it doesn't break, I told. If I apply this value, definitely that will break. Before that, before breaking, when you apply some stress, there is some change in the dimensions of the body. Dimensions means length, breadth and volume. Length, breadth, say surface area and volume will change because of that external stress. The amount of deformation produced in a body due to stress, we call this as strain. And usually we denote with letter like your mathematics symbol epsilon, belongs to. This is pronounced as epsilon. This should be pronounced as sigma. Greek letter, my dear students, it's a Greek letter. You should pronounce this as sigma. In NCERT book, wherever you see a sigma in first PUC, mechanical properties of a solid, in that chapter, if you observe sigma, you must call that as a stress. If you observe this epsilon, you must say that as a strain. Can you define what is strain now? Degree of deformation produced in a body due to the external stress is called due to external stress. Now, depending on the style, the type of force you are applying, in what direction you are applying the force, stress and strain can be of different type depending on the direction of the force applied. There is a corresponding strain and the shape will change. Correspondingly, we have different kinds of stress and strains. I repeat, depending on the direction you apply a force on a body, there is a stress as well as a strain. Hence, there are different types of stress and the corresponding strains. What they are? Before learning that, after learning this strain, this always is defined as fractional change in the dimensions. Dimensions means length may change, surface area may change, volume may change. When length changes, definitely breadth will change, area will change, and correspondingly there is a change in volume. But depending on the type of direction we apply a force, we have different types of stress and corresponding strains. Let me study one by one detail. Before learning them, this strain, mathematics, this is a general definition you can say. Degree or amount of deformation produced in a body due to external stress, and it is equal to fractional change in the dimensions due to external stress. Means, I write once again, stress means applied force divided by surface area, which is expressed in terms of Newton per meter square. While doing problems, we can write, I think it is not visible, stress, force by area, expressed in terms of Newton per meter square. Now, depending on the, before going to that, let me complete this. I told fractional change. Fractional change means ratio means small change in length. Small change in length to the original length. A small change in area with respect to original area. A small change in volume to the original volume. change in length to the original length. Change in area to the original volume, to the original area. Change in volume to the original volume, what we call as a fractional change in the dimensions. Hence, we told there is, because of the external stress, the dimensions of a body can change. Hence, we have different types of stress and different types of strains. As in the study of a strain, here ratio of same quantity means length, area, here also volume. Ratio of same physical quantity has no unit. Means volume, if you write the SI unit of volume, what do you get? Meter cube divided by meter cube cancels. Here meter square divided by meter square cancels. Here meter cancels. Now tell me, my dear students, what is the unit, SI unit of strain? No SI unit. You can have the note. Ratio of same physical quantity has no SI unit. Has no SI unit. But stress has a SI unit. It is expressed in terms of Newton per meter square, whereas strain is unitless. Now let us understand what are the different types of stress and the corresponding strain that you will get. First one, my dear students, you can take the heading longitudinal stress and the corresponding strain, longitudinal strain. We write this sigma L. Here we write epsilon L. First type of stress. Say I have a steel rod as we studied earlier. I am applying this force. This is applied force. And there is some restoring force as we studied. Because of this applied force, there is intermolecular attraction. They will oppose the external force. Hence, there is a corresponding stress called longitudinal because this applied force is along the length. It is applied along its length. The rod is being stretched along its length. So, depending on the type or direction of the force applied, the first type of stress is longitudinal stress. And this force applied here it is perpendicular to the surface. Therefore, this longitudinal stress sigma L is also written as longitudinal stress. Longitudinal force by area. Such a stress is called longitudinal stress. The force which is applied along the length of the body, and it is perpendicular, we do not apply randomly, and sometimes it is also taken as normal force per unit area. Longitudinal, here also you can write in one word itself, normal force per unit area. SI unit remains same, force by area, and there is corresponding strain, my dear students. Here what happens here is, there is a small increase in the length of the body. Listen carefully. Length of the rod increases. Say, let us say it is increased by an amount delta L. Delta L is, you can say, extension. For example, say, let us say initial length is, before stretching, initial length is 5 meter. Assume that. After stretching, say new length L dash becomes 5.05 meter. What is the initial length? 5 meter, 5.0 meter. After stretching, what is the new length we got? 5.05 meter. Now what is the extension now? This extension is L dash minus L. If you do the difference, how much you get, my dear students? 0.05 is the extension. I think you understood properly. That change in the length of a steel rod to the original length, is correspondingly is known as longitudinal. Pronunciation differs, my dear students. Longi or longitudinal strain, which is defined as ratio of change in length to the original length. As we discussed, ratio of a same physical quantity has no unit, hence longitudinal strain is unitless. So depending on the type or direction of the force applied, there is a longitudinal stress and correspondingly longitudinal strain. Like that, you have another type, second type. Second type we say bulk stress or compressional stress, and correspondingly bulk strain or volume strain. Let us understand what this is. Let us say you have a ball, rubber ball. Say it has some initial volume, you are not applying any forces here. Say initial volume is V, initial volume. Now see, my dear students, in what direction you are going to apply the force, that will decide the type of the stress and the strain. So I am applying this force here. Means what I am doing, I am compressing the ball. Of course, all these forces are applying perpendicular to the surface. If I draw a tangent here, if I draw a tangent to this will be a definitely normal force only. But what happens here? Does the length change? When all these normal forces are acting on the ball, what happens now? Ball gets squeezed. Volume decreases. Now let us say this is the new shape that is going to take. This is a V dash. V dash is say new volume. From the diagram you can say V dash is less than V. After applying the normal force or compressional, means the ball is being compressed. Because of that, there is some change in the shape of the body. Correspondingly, there is a strain. Because of this type of force, there is corresponding change in the shape of the body that we call as a strain. What we call as bulk strain or volume strain. So, main definition is same, force by area. Force by area gives stress. But here, once I say compressional stress or bulk stress, you must say it is a normal perpendicular. You must say compressional force. I can write normal or compressional force divided by area. My dear students, basically we write a normal force. Divided by area. Here we write sigma B, bulk stress. Correspondingly, there is a bulk strain. So, what happens here? I told a fractional change in the dimensions of the body because of the stress. Fractional change in the dimensions means length may change, surface area may change, volume may change. Here what happens now? Volume gets changed. Now what is the change in volume now? Delta V. Change in volume. Fractional change in volume to the original volume. So that is epsilon B is equal to delta V divided by V. As the ratio of same physical quantity, my dear student, it is also unitless. I think, my dear student, this is the first class that I have interacted with you. We are slow. Syllabus is very heavy. We have to start with the syllabus. One more stress, that is shearing stress. Shearing stress and the corresponding shearing strain is left. For the today class, we shall continue in the next class. Take care. Thank you.